I sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. I'm the same man I was since the age of 13, and I've lived my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum.
Oh, it's the last party of the weekend. We are live. It is 10 drink minimum. It is 6 p.m. on a Sunday night. Let me pull everybody back in here. Oh, man. How are you guys doing in the new year?
Doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's almost like it was just another day.
Oh, right.
I'm feeling more positive. I curled part of my hair today.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you did some curls. Or like, I did some curls.
Yeah, right.
Buff.
I was like, okay, cool. It's like, that's fun. Oh, I didn't share this. Let me share the show real quick. Yeah.
Oh, I should probably do that too.
Nope, I already did it. It's already on
Oh.
yours. I've
Got it.
lost complete faith in you guys, so I just do it on my own now.
Thanks, dude.
I'm like, you guys aren't going to do a damn thing, are you?
I've been doing it every week for quite a while.
Just laying there.
Well, I broadcast from my phone, and that's the only other way I have.
And that's you know what, Smiley?
That's fair.
That's pretty fair, you know.
I'd have to exit the show to share it and then come back.
I will help you out with that. Then I will share it for you.
I appreciate it.
Today's show is drink. I would say is it's a new year. I would do a little bit of champagne and mimosa, maybe.
Or there's lots of people doing dry January. So for me, it's a green tea.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's lots of people doing drugs, and I was like, yeah, probably. People got their
that too.
People got their stimmy, yo. Did you guys get your stimmy?
We did.
I feel like everyone in the world has got theirs but me, which is okay, which is fine. I'm not.
Well, Jason got his. I haven't gotten mine yet. But you know what? I never got my first one. So
what happened? Why did you not get one?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And this happened to my mom too, but my mom's ex-husband, my father, is much more reasonable than mine. The IRS sometimes accidentally sends the stimulus to like an ex-spouse that you filed taxes with previously.
Oh.
And that's where mine went.
Oh, so someone else got it? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So did you go, hey, where the fuck is my money? Can I have it?
Yeah, they have to figure it out now. So I don't know.
They're going to figure it out with the help of a baseball bat? What are they figuring out here?
I don't know. So the IRS was basically like, well, you know, he's probably going to be in trouble either way because he got an extra $1,200 and didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the government kind of notices that.
They will.
Yeah. So. I don't know. It's not my problem anymore. They said they were going to figure it out and get me my money. So
I see. Okay.
Just waiting.
Well, okay. I mean, we have to send Chewy over there with a
baseball bat,
with a cheese grater, grab him by the hair, and he's just like scraping their face off. Where's the money, man? Where's the fucking money, bro? I mean, sometimes shit's got to be paid, you know?
Yep.
Where is my money?
Well, and what sucks too is he's been able to work through this whole thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see how the tax man is going to do this year. It's going to be an interesting deal.
I don't
know either.
I literally have no idea, and I usually do tax preparation.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, who knows? I don't know.
I bet there's going to be a lot of people that just can't even file. Like, I'm not going to file this year. There's no way.
Yeah,
because if you make If you take like a little, no, if you make too little, then
Oh,
like, you know,
Yeah, you don't have to file.
I see.
you
What
don't have to unless you
But
make enough money.
I see what you're saying. So a bunch of people won't make. Like I remember there was a year, like this kind of is blows my mind now. I remember there was a year I made $9,000
Wow.
total in a whole year, and I was like, I didn't know anything. Now that's like, I'm like, how in the hell did I eat?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I do know. So like when I lived in Portales, New Mexico, where I started this program, this fine program, you would get in a house and you would get like 2 roommates, and then the rent on the house would be like $500
Yeah.
per se. So so you would have what's 500 divided by 3? It's like 100 and something, 100 and something a piece. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the math on that? Let's see. Pull up the calculator here.
Not very much.
Right.
Cheap as hell.
Right. But then we start like $166 a person.
Wow.
Let's say that's what it was. And I remember struggling to get the $166. And I mean, we would eat ramen, we would eat SpaghettiOs, but then we definitely bought beer. Like I clearly remember. I remember like when this is old people hour, I guess. So I remember this is old people cast. Welcome to old people cast. I remember when Keystone Light, because that was our beer of choice, because we were stupid. I remember when they went from a case, which is 24 beers, to a 30-pack. When the 30 packs came out, right? They had a big logo on the side and it said, "Now with 6 more beers." And of course, everybody was like, well, hell yeah. A 30-pack of Keystone Light was $8. Because
it's barely beer.
Right. And and that was kind of the norm. And then I remember when they went from $8 to $11. And
that's a big jump.
And I was like, well, I guess I don't drink anymore. This is for 30 beers, $11. And I'm like, well, that's that. I guess I have to stop drinking,
I know the sentiment. I remember when 12 packs of PBR went up to $10. I was like, rip off.
Right.
I don't know. That all still sounds cheap to me, because by the time I started drinking beer, PBR was at least $10.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's man. So yeah, so I mean, I remember going, and like you would do that kind of thing though, where you would go to the store and you couldn't really, you didn't get what you wanted. You got what you could afford. You were like, oh geez. I've got $5. I can get a 4-pack of Ice House Tall Boys. Or, chip in with everybody and go in on the Keystone Light, and hopefully drink them fast enough that I can get more out of my money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you would just like speed drink. I've had days like that too.
Those are the days.
Start chugging
Until recently, we were pretty poor and would have to just kind of chug our beer to hope to get a buzz by the end of,
Yeah. Oh,
or we would get a few good craft beers where we would get a buzz. But now we don't have to worry about that because Hamster's awesome. So
when you guys were, I don't know if James did this. He might have. So when you guys were younger, in your 20s, you say, what was the game, like the games of choice for speed drinking?
King's Cup.
Let me actually say this beforehand. We do not condone in any way, shape, or form drinking alcohol in any kind of fast way. It's not a good idea.
It's not good for you.
It's not good for you. It's, don't drink and drive. Don't speed drink. Don't, power drink, any of that shit. Anyway.
That means
you said Kings.
Kings, and we would just shotgun beers. That was just we just did that.
There
for
was
fun.
that was like the big manly thing was to shotgun a beer or to bong a beer through a beer bong.
Mhm.
Back in the days when I was in college, a bong was a thing, a funnel with a hose on
Yeah.
it.
We had those too. And
I
if
have one
you're
in
a
my
girl
closet.
that could do those things,
Yeah.
forget it.
Well, and it was crazy because we would. I lived in this party house, legendary party house in Portales. They probably burned it down now. And I mean, we would have like 200 or 300 people out of this house, and it was like across from a school. So the next day, like on next Monday, it'd always be trashed. Like it'd be the people would be out picking up cans and shit. I feel terrible about it now, but
You'd have to like go out to the front lawn and drag someone in. It's
Right.
daylight.
yeah, but we'd always like pitch in and get a keg, like a half barrel keg, Bud Light. It was funny because like I was like the king of this process. Like I knew like ins and outs. So what we would do is we would get pitch-ins for a keg, and everybody'd be like, get Bud Light or get Miller Light, and something like that. Well, a half barrel of Bud Light or Miller Light usually ran around $80 in those days, right? Well, what you could do is you could go to, and a lot of people never like I owned a keg shell. I owned a keg, the trash barrel that you put the keg in, and I had like a rotating amount of taps that I had purchased, and I would.
So you had the setup.
I would use them to fix other taps, So what I would do is my friends and I, we would go to hey, Happy New Year to you.
Hi, Nugget.
Hey, Nugget. So what we would do is we'd go on the beer run, right? And you take the keg shell. So actually that's what it was. A half barrel of beer was $100 because you had to pay a $20 deposit for the keg shell, unless you had one to trade, which is why why having a keg shell was worth its weight.
Or stealing one.
Yeah, or stealing one. Yeah. So I would take my keg shell to trade, and then I would collect about $80 from people. And then we would show up, and we would, they always, like when you go to buy a keg, they always take you in the back of the where the kegs are. You kind of help them a little bit, or they'll you go back there to pick one. So we would always go, well, let's see what you have. We would never tell them what we wanted at the counter. We would always say, you learn the game. You'd say, let's see what you have. And you'd go back there with them, and they'd be like, oh, we have like a Sam Adams keg. And that was like $120. But then they'd have like the Bud Light, and they'd have like Miller Light or Coors Light, and those would run around $80. But then they'd have like Red Dog or like Bush Light or, something not good. And I mean, the Bush Light could be like $40,
Right.
Or Red Dog usually ran around $60, And so what we would do is it'd be like, we'll be like, all right, can we get that Red Dog one? And then like they always had the little cap on the where you put the tap, and it would say what it was. And they just reused shells, so it didn't have like any marketing on the side of the half barrel. So we would, if you were, at the IGA store or on base or whatever, they always had a bunch of those little caps that went on top of the keg shell. The little where the
I see where you're going with this.
And we'd always say, hey, can we have like just one of these like Bud Light ones or whatever? And they'd be like, yeah. And we would stick that on there, and we would spend $60 instead of 80, right? But hold on, we didn't like steal the money. Like we weren't stealing the money. So here's where we're at. So we always knew that one keg was never going to be enough, right? So the big thing was too is we didn't have enough money for two. So what we would do is we would buy the Red Dog keg for $60, put that Bud Light or that Miller Light or that Coors Light logo on it, show up, and then like people would see us like tap it, and we'd take the little cap off and put it on the counter, and they'd start drinking it, and people would almost never know.
No one's like,
yeah,
this is Red Dog.
Yeah. And we would take that 20, and it was pretty much for the next one. So you had a jump start. You know what I mean? So then you'd go and lift the keg shell, because that's how you could tell how much beer is in a half barrel. You go and grab it while it's in the ice, and you can kind of lift it with one arm, and you can feel how much liquid is in it.
See if it floats.
Yeah. And so we would start the hat pitch, be like, oh, we got to get money. And you'd never get enough. So that's what that extra 20 was for, was to like get that money for the next. And you almost always get a second keg. There were times where we'd start out with one keg, get a second one, and then have extra money to like share the next day. But where that was going is like, there was always this group of girls, and there was like 10 to 15 of them that would always show up with a funnel bong and just start doing beer bongs. Look at this.
Yep.
And these traits were passed down through the kids. Yeah. It's one of my friends from college. He knows what we did.
Yeah, I was one of those girls. I guess I was one of those girls. Like I had my own beer bong, and then I also did keg stands.
Oh man. I had keg stands as well.
I could never do keg stands well. I never did them. And also I was a big guy, so it's tough for people to hold me up. So I was one that always held people up.
I was super tiny, so.
Yeah. So whenever the fraternities do the first 2 weeks of school are dry, you're not allowed to drink, right? That's the recruitment period, or it used to be anyway. And so you couldn't. You're not allowed to drink in your fraternity house for the first 2 weeks. If you got caught, I mean, we still did it, but like if you got caught, you would get in trouble with the IFC and the president and all that. So anyway, so the second Friday of the dry period was called at 5:00. The dry period ended, so the big party was called 501. The party didn't start at 5:01, but 5:01 is when you could drink in the house again. And when I accepted my bid and all that, they decided to have one, like there was 5 fraternities on campus and 2 sororities, and the one fraternity everyone hated, they were like the common enemy of everyone. So the other 4 fraternities had a joint party, and there was 7 kegs, and I remember this dude did like a 48-second keg stand. And I was just like, wow, and I was like, I think I was like 19 or 20, maybe.
He just passed out after that?
He was still going, man. He was one of those dudes that could just go, And yeah, so it was funny because did someone say speed quarters for the game earlier? Were you guys talking about?
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So I used to have a beer bong. I had a thing that I got at spring break where it was a shotgunner for beer bottles. It was this, I think I might have this. I don't know. It was purple and it had a tube that went down into the beer bottle.
Oh,
to do the air, and you could just lift a beer bottle and blast it.
Yeah. If you just get a bendy straw, it works the exact same way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same. Yeah, I had like the official one. Like if you ever go somewhere for spring break, when kids do, there's all this paraphernalia just to get wasted. Yeah.
Yep. That's the one I would always do with the bendy straw for the beer bottles.
Yeah. Did you guys ever play? Yeah, go ahead.
The beer just falls into your mouth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like it rushes. Did you guys ever play Flip Cup at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one where I was from.
Mostly here we played King's Cup.
Yeah.
And then there was this other one that we played that was like a rhyming game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that might have been part of King's Cup, actually.
Yeah, it was like you made a rule, like rhyme.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been years since
rhyme, and you couldn't repeat, and like however many people it went around, that's how many drinks you had to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did King's Cup. We would do Mushroom Kings, where you would do like, instead of like on the table, you would put the cards on top of the cup.
Oh yeah.
And then they'd balance, and then someone knocked them all off. They had to drink. You filled a cup full of like whatever, and then chug it.
I'm getting flashbacks.
Right? Yeah.
I don't have that iron stomach anymore.
Yeah. I just remember like whenever Marble, in the days when Marble was young, and it was just like the one building over on Marble and First, like that little building. I was there with a group of people some downtown scene people, and someone had got a little plastic cup for water, and they had quarters out, and they kept trying to like make them in the cup, and they couldn't make it. And finally, I was like, give me that. And so I made it, and they were like, damn, that was cool. Do it again. And I did it 10 times in a row. And everybody was like, holy shit. And I was like, yeah, man, that's, I went to college, motherfucker.
Yeah, see, I learned how to do quarters not for any drinking purpose, just out of boredom.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a thing you can do? Ka-ding, ka-ding.
Yeah.
Oh, can I bounce it off that and then into the cup? Ka-ding, ka-ding. Okay.
I wonder if there's a list of like the ones from Beer Fest.
Oh, I bet there is.
Sure.
All those beer games that I never involved my friends would just do this.
Quarters on there, which I got. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Holly? I'm sorry, we cut you off.
Oh, I'm not very good at quarters.
Well, I loved, one of my favorite games was Speed Quarters, and so I really got super good at, because you have to be Speed Quarters. You have to play quarters. It's like regular quarters, but you have 2 cups, and you try to catch the other cup. And if you catch it, whoever gets caught, they have to drink. And you have to be super fast.
I usually would just like end up chugging something because I knew I was just going to be wasted.
The best was like when you had somebody new and they were like, they sucked. And you just like literally like after like 20 minutes, they're just messed up. And you're like, well, your night's done. You shouldn't have played. And you do that on purpose sometimes. I don't know. I know we got off on that, but like I always wonder like what people did when they were in their 20s. And I don't even know why it was a thing. It's like, why do we have to do this thing that makes us drink faster? Like,
because you're young and stupid.
Young and stupid, yeah.
And you don't drink good beer, so
no, it's always like Busch Light or Natural Light or
yeah.
I'm not gonna say Pabst Blue Ribbon because that that's an award winner.
Pabst is delicious and
it is the award-winning Pabst Blue Ribbon.
But I can't even see the Keystone label anymore. Like if I see it, it just makes me want to throw up.
I don't know if I have had. I mean, I don't remember the last time I ever had one. And I mean, that was our go-to. We drank that shit like crazy. And it was.
I never went below Pabst.
Yeah. What is the alcohol level on Keystone Light?
Which actually made drinking games way more hazardous in the houses that I was in.
Oh yeah.
So
no kidding.
What's in the keg? Sierra Nevada. Let's play a drinking game. Everyone's gonna be plastered in an hour.
Yeah.
I hung out with a bunch of people who drank hard liquor instead of beer. So when we would play King's Cup, it was just like a bunch of
random booze.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
And you would end up mixing that with like beer sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
it's whatever everyone was drinking. That's why I never played that game.
When I was young, like the big popular, I mean, that's the other thing too, is like there's these like, when you're 20, around 21 years old, there's definitely alcohols that were probably around then that probably aren't even around now. So the big ones there was a thing called Purple Passion. And that was what like women loved it. I'm sure there was men that loved it too, but it came in a 2-liter bottle and it was basically grape, Kool-Aid, and Everclear. I don't know how the fuck it didn't eat through the 2-liter plastic, but it was called Purple Passion. It was real popular. Then there was an alcohol called Avalanche. Let me see here if I can pull it up here. Yeah, they're there. Oh, and Aftershock. There was 2 different ones.
I remember Aftershock.
Aftershock and Avalanche. Yeah, Aftershock was the big one, right? Okay, so here you go. Let's pull this up here.
For anyone who's not over New Year's yet, here is some hangover-inducing awfulness.
Yeah, like you can't see it in the picture very well, but it had these crystals in the bottom of the bottle, and it was basically our version of what's that shit that people drink now? That cinnamon whiskey. Fireball. So it was like cinnamon schnapps, but it was in like this, fancy bottle, and it had like a minty aftertaste, and then it had these crystals in the bottom of it. I'm sure you can still find it. And So what people would do is they would finish the bottle. They would either break it or get a coat hanger and dig the crystals out of it, because it was like a cinnamon Jolly Rancher but alcoholic.
Oh,
And so then there was that. There was Goldschlager. Goldschlager was big when I was in my 20s, and it was cinnamon schnapps with the gold flakes in it that supposedly cut the lining of your stomach to help you get drunk more.
They still have that one around.
yeah, it's still around. People, when I was bartending at the strip club, it was Goldschlager or the other peppermint one.
Rumpelmans.
Rumpelmans. The strippers would drink that, so nobody knew they were drinking.
Yeah, because it's all minty. Then there was St. Ides made a malt.
You mix them together.
No, St. Ides made
mix those together. It's a screaming Nazi.
Oh, the Rumpelmans and Goldschlager.
Yeah, I mean, you lose friends that way.
Oh yeah, well no, that was the drink we would drink at the bar. Like if it was your birthday, we got you a Rumpelmans, Jägermeister, and Bacardi 151, and they called it the three. That's what they called the Three Wise Men where I was from, but it's
that's not what it is here.
Jägermeister and 151. And man, that was like 0 to 60 for some people because they were just turning 21. It was like, whoo! I remember people laying on the sidewalk outside the bar. They'd be like, "You know what I should get for my free drink, don't you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." Like I had a definite answer for him. It was a fucking bad idea. But then it was
magical stuff at the bar we used to go to. Super Tang,
yeah, where it was Tang and Everclear, and they put it in one of the slushy machines.
Dear God!
This was a bar that was upstairs and had a balcony. That
was amazing.
And had a balcony, and you fell out into the street if you fell off the balcony. Wow. But St. Ides and it had a malt beverage called St. Ides Special Brew, and that was super popular.
It's still around.
Is it really? Let's see if I can. Oh wow, yeah, it sure is.
That's huge, man.
Yeah, and that was like the under 21 crowd. Love that. Not that they drank. There you go. Three Wise Men is rough because it hits you in stages. Yeah. Yeah. Stage 1, you're woozy. Stage 2, you've fallen down. Stage 3, you lay in your own sick. That's the
You guys are going to make me throw up talking about this stuff. I'm trying so hard to keep it together.
This was like for the underagers. They loved this stuff, man. It was a malt beverage. It was came in multiple different flavors. They didn't do it. It's funny because like, now you buy your seltzers. I introduced my mom to the seltzers over Christmas, and she's like, "Oh, I like this one flavor." She's like, "Do they just sell it where you can get just the one flavor?" And I was like, "Some of them do. Some of them they just like most of them all do the variety pack, and some of them that's all they do." So I think if St. Ides back in the day would have done a variety pack, that would have been a smarter idea.
So when I was 21, we had Four Loko.
Oh, see that was after me.
And we would take Four Loko and then mix other alcohol into Four Loko.
God dang!
Oh no!
And I saw my friends do it. I think one time, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that because right before I turned 21, I went to Oktoberfest in Germany. And got super wasted, and I think that because I got super wasted with my parents and saw how that went, by the time I turned 21, I was like, no, I don't want to act like that. But my friends used to mix Four Loko with tequila or whiskey.
Oh, God,
that's awful.
Oh, yeah. You made me sick now.
That's payback.
This was our version of Four Loko. It was called Sparks, and it was
Sparks.
Yeah, it was like it was the same thing where it was like alcohol and energy drink all in one. I would drink those if I was tired and I had to go out and party.
My number one thing to drink when I was 21 was vodka Red Bulls. I drank those all the time.
Yeah.
And then I also went through a cosmopolitan phase
Ooh.
I was
Which I
gonna say
think
that's
every girl goes through that.
Yeah, I went through that too.
Did you?
Yeah.
that's,
I was like,
that's
I'll
not
drink.
next.
I like to have my pinky out. I'll be all, Then another big one was, I mean, this was the I'm broke, but I don't like beer choice. Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill.
Oh.
That was the I'm broke and I don't have any money. So
I can't
That
believe
was-
you guys never went with a Mad Dog.
oh, totally.
Well,
So there was one of the fraternities had a party called Mad Dog, and you had to. It was one of those parties where it was like it was their big party of the year. They put up a fake fence and put plastic wrap around it, and then went and paid for a noise permit so they could go after 10, and the cops wouldn't show up. And it was such a big party. If you fucked up and didn't go buy your Mad Dog it's really actually not called Mad Dog. It's Mogan David's 2020.
Logan David, yeah.
Mogan David's finest 2020. Let me
Which
unscrew
also makes it
the-
kosher.
Right. So if you didn't go buy earlier in the week, you ended up with green. Like that was green or was it yellow? Was that the other nasty one? Whatever
The
nasty.
original flavor,
Yeah.
red grape wine. That was
I
the
don't
one.
know.
That,
They're all nasty.
No,
Sorry.
that's not true. You are incorrect.
that's not
James,
true.
I
Oh,
said the same thing, and James made me like eat those words because what was the flavor, James? That is amazing. It tastes really good.
Peaches and cream is the one that you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is delicious,
Now
and you wind up drinking
someday-
the entire
you
bottle.
you don't feel good the next day,
Oh no,
but it is tasty.
you're still putting
Someday I
formaldehyde
will
inside
try
you.
it.
Yeah, but you'd show up to like the grocery store because there was like a grocery store and a bar in the town that sold alcohol, and the bar didn't sell Mad Dog. So you would show up at the grocery store, go to that aisle, and you just see green, and you're like, shit, son of a bitch, and that's what you had to drink that night because they didn't allow any other alcohol but Mad Dog. So, yeah, it's a rough one.
Let's see. There's
That's a
the
cool party.
orange Jubilee's not too bad. The bling bling blue raspberry.
He knows all the names. I'm like red, purple, green, yellow.
Did you guys watch that show Death to 2020?
No, I read the synopsis. It sounded awful.
It's so good.
Okay, now
It's
what?
a mockumentary, and Samuel L. Jackson is in it. Leslie Jones is in it.
Okay, I like all those people.
It is like probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, and I wish they would do it for every single year.
Oh wow.
But 2020 was a year that was. But basically, they make fun of everybody.
Oh good.
And-
All the big stories.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of Trump, making fun of Trump and
Oh, yeah?
Trumpers.
I didn't see anything about him this year. Huh.
No, that's weird, right? I just.
Oh, weird.
Who's Trump again? I can't remember. What did he do?
He called the governor. He called the secretary of treasury of Georgia and told him he needed to overturn the election. To years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
You
That's
see
right.
that today? That came out.
Just saw that today.
There's
Did you
audio.
see that one of his lawyer? I don't think it's his lawyer, but it's like a Republican lawyer, like one of the crazy ones that's trying to overturn elections everywhere.
There needed to be violence in the streets.
Well, no, but there's one that said that Mike Pence needs to be arrested and executed for treason
Wow. It's strange times we live in.
because Mike Pence is even like, we're done, like, let it go.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
It's
Dan
crazy.
Mayfield's in the
Dan
audience.
Mayfield.
Hey, Thunder and Dan Mayfield's in the audience.
But yeah, if you haven't seen Death to 2020, please watch it.
What's so my question for you guys is when you had $4 in your pocket and you were going out on a Friday, what was your shitty alcohol of choice at that moment?
PBR, I guess.
Yeah, but $4 wouldn't have bought. I mean, if you were going to a party, I guess you could get a 6-pack maybe.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like,
I'm just saying anywhere. Like if you're going to a party and you were like, I'm gonna get blasted tonight and have $4.
Probably cheap
I get dollar
vodka.
shooters.
Say
Yeah.
again, James. What'd you say, James?
Sorry, dollar shooters.
Dollar shooters. So $4 shooters.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like
I mean,
4 shots of something.
and I have to explain this to the audience. When I say you have to buy one alcohol to get drunk for that, here's basically what I mean. What do you have to get you drunk where you just don't give a fuck and you go drink everybody else's shit is really what I'm saying, because that's really what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably just get like cheap vodka and something to mix it with.
Oof.
I don't know.
What's the, that's another question. Where's the cutoff at for cheap vodka? Where do you
Like
go?
now or back when I was 20?
Well, back when you were 20.
I don't
Okay.
think I had a cutoff.
Oh,
Like I
well.
think I just drank whatever.
You're like, dark eyes, whatever.
Yeah.
No,
I just
that
didn't
was
know any better.
You woke up and you looked in the mirror and you're like, dark eyes.
Yeah.
yeah.
So one of
I
our
would-
friends, go ahead.
No,
James.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't touch that stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly because of it smelled,
Mhm.
and vodka's not really supposed to have a pronounced smell.
No, right. So one of our friends had a birthday over, like, was it right before Christmas? Yeah, right before Christmas. And our friend Sabrina was like, "Hey, I'm bringing Jessie over to your place, for her birthday." She's like, we're gonna social. They didn't come like in my place. They were like, they just walked up, and I walked outside to say happy birthday. And she was like, you can sing her a song, you can flash her, you can give her a shot, you could buy her a bottle of cheap alcohol. And so, and I was like, okay, when you say cheap alcohol, what kind of cheap alcohol does she like? And she's like, she really likes shitty whiskey. And what she really misunderstood is she likes shitty scotch, which is also a terrible thing. But she didn't say that. So I go over to the El Rey liquor store and I was like, yeah, man, I'm like, I want to get and they kind of know what I buy over there. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to buy a small bottle of whiskey. And they're like, well, we have a smaller bottle of the Periwinkle. And I'm like, uh-huh. And they're like, and then we have a small bottle of the Old Forester. And I was like, no. I guess I didn't. What is a small cheap bottle? And they're like, oh, we only have one small cheap bottle and it's 10 high. And I'm like, 10 high is worth it. There, give it up.
10 high is not that bad, honestly. It was a well whiskey at one of the places I worked at, and it's not bad. No. Would I sit there and drink it by choice all the time? No, but it's not terrible.
Okay. I didn't do a shot with them. I watched her do a shot out on the sidewalk in front of my house, which it's downtown. Who cares, Yeah. And Sabrina's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, it's not whiskey, it's scotch, which scotch is whiskey, but definitely she's like,
yeah,
I meant to say she liked peaty mossy whiskey, which is and I'm like, yeah, that's called scotch. Sabrina, nobody describes it as the peaty mossy
shit whiskey. That's Sabrina's explanation for scotch. Shitty whiskey.
Shitty whiskey.
And she meant to say mossy peaty
scotch.
Yeah.
I mean, that does sound
Yeah. And
if you don't like scotch, I call scotch shitty whiskey.
Yeah.
I hate scotch, but
they used to drink a lot of it, man. I used to drink a lot of Chivas.
I remember a few years ago I discovered this drink made with scotch, and I can't remember what it's called, but I was obsessed with it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because I hate scotch so much. And I found this drink, and it's like it has orange juice and scotch, and then they smoke it. I don't know what all it. And it is the best drink ever, but then I would be so hungover because I would drink like 7 of them.
Oh. I drank for like 2 weeks. I thought that what is that brandy? It's
Erkenjerk?
E&J.
Yeah,
I
Erkenjerk.
thought that I would buy E&J brandy and I would mix it with Dr. Pepper. And I thought it was the best thing on the planet. And I ended up blacking out twice. Both times I was making out with the same girl.
Oh no.
just kissing and just.
I think you've talked about this before, and that's why I know you can't have brandy.
No, I mean if I do,
can't have tequila. Tequila makes me nuts.
Yeah, if I do brandy, I do it by itself, as you should. You're supposed to, I think, like heat it up, like have a little snifter, the glass that has the handle under it. No, but I think I was mixing it and just being stupid, and just overpowering it, and then both times, and it didn't. She did not take that too well. Good old days.
That's like this.
What's the stupidest thing you guys have ever done drunk?
God, I have a whole litany of things.
That's a subjective opinion. I don't know.
No, I have definite things for sure. Stupidest thing.
I learned parkour with my roommate and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We only ever went after we'd all collectively finished a fifth of alcohol.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was the stupidest thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Because that way,
Oh, go ahead, Jay.
You'd fall like 3 stories and you wouldn't feel it at all.
Oh, probably a good thing.
You just get back up all.
Probably a good
up that
thing.
wall again.
Ugh.
Chris?
I think my story will stay last. You go ahead.
Okay. I don't know. I've done a lot
Mm-hmm.
of dumb things.
Same.
Because when I'm drunk, I am a fun drunk, and I will stop at nothing to have fun. I'm also stubborn, and so I have done a lot of dumb things. But I think the top of my list was St. Patrick's Day a few years ago.
Okay. I
was staying at a friend's house downtown, and I decided I wanted tacos. So I went over, I left their apartment, went to go get tacos, and then I didn't remember anything after that, walked home, or went back to their place, and apparently I got back with the tacos, but the box was all crinkled up, and the next morning I woke up and I thought I was dying of liver disease or something. Like, I legitimately thought my body was shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
I had broken ribs.
Okay.
And I had to piece the night together by, I saw pictures in my phone of, people I had run into downtown. And I went and got tacos. Then went over to Anodyne. Somehow went into Anodyne completely blackout drunk.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't turn me away. Nothing. I had whiskey in Anodyne with some friends of mine. Fell down the Anodyne stairs.
Oh, my God.
Told my friend that I was at Anodyne with that I was fine, and walked back to my friend's apartment and thought everybody was going to be ready for tacos. I had been gone for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I think that's the dumbest thing I ever did.
Cold tacos.
Cold tacos and broken ribs, man.
I don't know if I have enough time in the hour to tell the story of the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's fun. It was fun. I have no shame on it. I'm not ashamed of it whatsoever.
I could go on for hours.
I know. I could too. I have so many stories.
I honestly need to start writing them all down to, have a memoir book thing, because people were like, they were like, man, you were insane. And, because we did a lot of crazy shit when I was in college, man. We were crazy. I was very destructive too. I like to break things. I like to break things that were perfectly good. Like if it was a chair, I'd smash it to pieces. Oh man, we would go to the neighbor's fraternity and go to their party, and then they had their washer and dryer in the bathroom, and we'd pee in them. And
my God.
Oh yeah, we were nuts, man. I peed in a super soaker once, and I was spraying people with it. That's those are all mild compared to what I'm going to tell. I'm going to tease that for the second hour, I think.
You want to my legitimate dumbest thing I ever did, I think, though?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hit a parked car going 75 miles an hour.
There's that. Did you end up in the hospital?
Of course I did.
I don't know, man. You could have had seatbelt on, airbags.
I did have a seatbelt on.
Usually when someone's wasted, man, they usually walk away barely hurt, you know?
Just
Next, you
snap
don't
my
breathe.
collarbone.
Yeah.
Oh,
They had to use the jaws of life on me. I was all, it's fine. It's just locked. Let me unlock it for you.
Oof. That's a tough one. That's oof.
That was the dumbest thing.
That is a pretty stupid thing. No, I look back on my life and I we enjoyed ourselves. We had a really good time. I mean, did we do it at the expense of other people? Sometimes, yes. That's probably a bad thing. But
I destroy someone's car? Yes.
I thought you were talking about me. And I'm like, many times actually. But there's nobody knows. There's no proof. There's no video. We didn't have cameras back in those days in our pocket, which was a damn good thing.
I did.
I used to poop in gift bags and leave them on people's doors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Nice of you. We I was on first name basis with all of the police in Portales. Never got arrested. Never one time. But they definitely knew me. And I got out of, I don't know, I either talked my way out or they were just like, this guy's too stupid. One of the things. But like many times I should have got arrested easily.
Oh, yeah.
Many times.
A time I should have gotten arrested was the time I rode a big wheel, like the little kids, like tricycle thing.
Mm-hmm.
I took one of those from a party to Allsup's to get chimichangas for people, and I parked it in a parking spot.
Nice.
And a cop saw me do that. And cute. He drove me back to the party.
I'm glad you said chimichangas.
He was just like, that's kind of adorable.
Oh, I'm glad you said chimichangas and Allsup's because that also ties into my story as well. But what was I going to say? There was something I was going to... Oh, so I remember my friend Jared and I, we met these, I was dating a woman at the time, but we met all these, this group of girls one night and we just started partying with them. And then the second day they were like, you guys were a lot of fun. You guys should come and party with us again. Not like to hook up with us or anything, but just like you guys were fun. So we go and party with them, and I took my girlfriend, and we get to this house, like this apartment, and the girl who's lives there, she partied with us the night before. Her name was Dre. She was super cool. And anyway, she goes to get cigarettes, and all of a sudden, for an hour, she's gone. And then what had happened was they pulled her over. And she had an unpaid speeding ticket or parking ticket or some bullshit. And she never paid it. So there was a warrant for her arrest.
Oh, bench warrant.
So they arrested her, right? Well, all these girls that are her friend and the dudes that were there with them, they're freaking the fuck out. And Jared and I immediately go into mode. I pull my hat off and I'm like, all right, everybody, pitch-ins. And we're going around, we're pitch-ins to get her out of jail. And everybody's like, what? And we're just yeah, man, this is probably how much her bail is, blah, blah, blah. And they're just stunned. They're like, oh my God. And so then we go and everybody's like, well, can we write a check? And I was like, they don't take checks. They only take money orders. They won't take cash.
Yep.
And everybody's super stunned that we just are experts. And they're like, have you guys been to jail? And we're like, nah, but we've gotten a lot of our friends out of jail. And we get the money and we go buy the money orders and we go get this girl out of jail, right? It's 2 or 3 in the morning. And she walks out and she's like, yeah, man, they frisked me, but they didn't find these. And she reaches into her bra and she has the cigarettes that she bought. And we're like, yeah. And we go and party the sun comes up. And that was cemented legends that we were these people's friends from that day on. They were like, everybody else just pussed out and didn't know what to do. And you guys were just she's in jail. Fuck that. Let's take care of this problem. And that's kind of how we were. We're just we know what to do. Everybody started giving us money. We were going to go bail her out of jail. And we did. We got $500 and bailed her out of jail.
Nice.
At the party, yeah.
Everybody needs friends like that.
Yeah, because they were just shocked because everybody's we don't know what to do. We're going to have to call her family. And we're like, fuck no. We're not calling her family. We're getting her out of jail. And that's just how that went. It was just really funny. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll take a break here in a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll tell the stupidest thing I've ever done while drinking. I think it was, a lot of people said it was stupid. I don't necessarily think it was stupid, but in this day and age, I definitely would have been arrested for it.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't believe you don't. James has heard this before.
I might have heard it.
Yeah,
but I don't know what you're talking about right this second.
All right. So okay. So, what do you guys have to promote?
Oh, I have new things now.
Oh,
you have new things.
Oh boy, what's going on?
No, just the Snatchers is streaming on HBO Max now.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
And so you can see me on that, and then as usual, you can see me on Daybreak on Netflix or Hulu or the NBC app. You can see me on Midnight Texas and The Brave.
Oh, nice. Holly Ann, what do you got going on?
I don't really have a lot going on right now, but if you want to purchase some things from me, you can find me on Etsy at Holly's Tiny Things.
That's cool. We do our show here live every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. Unless we have a special show, which we'll announce usually on Facebook or Instagram. Those are our big social media platforms. At 10 Drink on Instagram and at 10 Drink Minimum on Twitter. We're also members of the Borellis Podcasters Guild. If you are looking to start a podcast and you live in the Albuquerque area, or Los Lunas or whatever, we have a studio in Borellis that we're building, and membership will get you access to that depending on what you get. I led a Q&A class yesterday. I've actually led 2 classes now on podcasting already, and or just been a part of. I don't know if I led them. I've been a part of them. And they were actually pretty cool. And I was really, because like at some points I'm always like, how could I help people? And then, you get in there and people ask crazy questions that, you wouldn't think they would ask, but then I'm able to answer them because I've done this for so long, or one of the other podcasters. So it's pretty cool. So Borellis Podcasters Guild, check that out. What am I missing? I think that's about it. We have this show, and I think one more show in this studio, possibly. I don't know. I'm not going to call it yet, but we're coming down to the last shows in this studio. You guys are like, who cares? We're not in the studio.
Well, sounds great, buddy.
I'm thinking, like, if depending on how you guys feel about it, maybe whenever I move into the new studio, you guys might come and do it live. It depends on how you feel about it. So
yeah,
it's up to you guys. But could be cool.
I think we've all pretty much been quarantined. So
yeah. Oh yeah. So check out our show on Sunday nights. Also, you can watch live on 10drinkminimum.com. I think that's it. I think I got all that, but definitely come back for the Wavy Billy Hour, and I'll tell the stupidest thing I've done when I've been drinking. So I will definitely tell that story. Kind of a legendary story where I'm from now. So it's like one of those that be like, oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely, some people aren't drinking for the new year. James and I, for sure. Holly is not. And you should if you can, but not if there's a reason why you shouldn't. Don't do it. Just saying.
I got hot tea and beer.
There you go.
A little both.
But if you are drinking, always remember blah blah blah. Start over. Always remember, never get too drunk
to jerk.
10drinkminimum.com.
Later, guys. We'll be back in about at 7:04.
Town in a cold, dry portion of the desert, ruined the sound of noisy bulldozer engines. And if you ask him to take the newly built interstate, his answer will be no. His hands will sift through sand that won't exist 2 weeks from now to give. All over town, pull weeds from the palms on your fingers. Nowhere to be found is the calm you try to remember. And if you ask him to take a pill to ease the brain, his answer will be no. Before he feels he needs a car to pay the bills, he'll sooner be in the ground on the hill. Over town, in a cool, dry portion of the desert, when the sound of a noisy bulldozer engine. And if you ask him to take the newly built interstate, his answer will be no. His hands will sift through sand that will exist 2 weeks from now to give. On board to a makeshift revelation, the world is not your own to make you hate it no more, no more. All over town, all over town, all over town, all over town. I stand to tell them where I am from. Please, please, don't tell me you're my own. Are you ready? Are you ready? I stand to tell. Fingers looking at the light switch as it slows a light going wrong. It's cost me a bar on the way. to someplace new. As you lay your hand just where it falls, leave the light switch on. As cars speed by, on the way to someplace, switch on. The light switch on, speed by, on the way to someplace, switch on. The light switch on, speed by, on the way to someplace, switch on. To find things I'm never supposed to see, try to resist desires inherent to forgiveness. You find yourself giving in, try to resist. Try to switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off. Try to switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off. Try to switch off, switch off. Yourself giving in, find 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 yourself giving in.
I sold my soul to the bottle. Still none of my friends have left me yet. I'm the same man I was since the age of 13, and I've lived my life with no regrets. If you're looking for some freedom, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum. If you're looking for rhyme or reason, all it takes is 10 drinks minimum.
Oh, welcome back. It is the Billy/Wavy Hour. You're watching 10 Drink Minimum. I'm your host, Chris Burnett. Let me bring my co-hosts in. One James Smiley.
Hey, everyone.
And one Holly Ann Bird.
Hello.
Man, welcome back. It's it's good to be here, Like I was telling somebody I work with, I was like, making it to January 31st of 2020, I never felt like was a big thing except in the year 2020. I was actually like, when I made it to January 31st, it just seemed like it was constantly just taking people right and left,
Yeah.
It actually felt like an accomplishment to live another year. And I don't know if that's my age or just 2020 was such a shit hole of a year. I don't know. How did
Maybe
you guys?
a combination of the both.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about that? Did you guys feel like 2020, like making it to 2021 to January 1st was an accomplishment?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
Making
now,
it with my relationship intact and
oh yeah, right.
all of that was, yes, it was.
I
This was a
wonder,
tough year.
like if the divorce rate went up or if it was
I've
better.
heard that it has. I've
Yeah.
heard that it's, you have to think, like, before you could escape your husband that you didn't really care for,
Mhm.
that you didn't really like, or,
Right.
you would have a lot of time apart from each other.
Yeah.
And like in my first marriage, that's what did us in, is he went from traveling for work to working from home.
Ooh.
And I just realized I hated him as a human being.
Oofda. Yeah, working
So-
together as a couple is not usually a good idea.
It's not great.
No.
So I would imagine that a lot of people just realized that they did not like their spouse. Because you can love someone and not enjoy them.
Well, and then there's like the person that you are at home and the person that you are at work.
Mhm.
And I saw a lot of like tweets and like, Facebook posts are like, wow, I've never thought about my husband or wife at work. And I just heard them say something in a meeting and I was just blown away by like
Yeah.
how that sounded.
That's another thing. Sorry, guys. But I have gotten to see Hamster as like a corporate person now, because he went from being a brewer to like a salesperson.
Sell out.
I know. You know what?
You have to do what
I'm
you got
not
to do.
judging him because he did what he had to do for our family. But
Hamster is
weird.
corporate.
But it is so weird to like see him leave the house in like a tie and a little cardigan every day, and then to like.
I feel like you like it.
I do.
Yeah.
He does look handsome. On Fridays, he wears bow ties. Every Friday is bow tie Friday. And I like that. But Danny and I went to go see him at work one day. And the way he talks to people at work is so different.
It's your work. It's your work thing. And like, you'll come home and like, like your significant other's like, how did today go? And you're just like, and you don't realize that they don't have context. They haven't been around. They don't know who Shirley is at work that everybody hates. They just know that Shirley's a person. And you're like, today sucked. Like Shirley just would not leave my cubicle. She wouldn't stop talking to me. I couldn't get any work done. And, they're like, well, maybe Shirley had a rough day and needed to talk to somebody. And you're like, no, you don't know Shirley. She's just crazy, and then you sound like an ass. And, you don't realize that because you're like, you have this work world where everyone knows that Shirley's the person that's annoying, and there's no real person named Shirley that I work with. But, everyone's got that person they work with that they're like.
I have started to hate some of Hamster's coworkers. Just from stories that he's told, and I'm just like, that person sounds like a terrible human being. Like here's something. Corporate people are boring.
Yeah.
And we've never been around that. Like Hamster and I have never been around this lifestyle, and they think we are the weirdest people ever. They've never been downtown. They don't understand our lifestyle. They're like, wait, so you used to make beer and your partner is a comedian? Like you let her go and do that? Like they think we're so exciting and crazy.
What do you think? Now you understand why all my coworkers want to come and hang out with me all the time. Yeah.
It's bizarre.
I get introduced to everyone that comes into town. And it's like, they're like, oh, this is Chris. He does a podcast, very popular around town. Everyone knows him when you go downtown. And I'm like, you guys don't have to introduce me to people that come into town that way. You can just say I work here. And they're like, oh, I didn't know it was a big deal. I'm like, well, yeah, why don't you introduce anyone else like that? And they're like, oh, well, they're all boring. It's like, okay. And then like whenever it comes time, like I remember there was a big thing. They were coming into town and they were all going to take us out for happy hour. And immediately everybody's like, "Where are we going for happy hour, Chris?" And I'm like, "Why do I got to pick?" And they're like, "Well, none of us know." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I was like, "How about geckos?" And they're like, "No, higher." And I was like, "What do you mean higher? Like more money?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, vintage on Paseo." You know, if we're gonna go for it, go for it. You know,
That's funny.
and yeah, like it was just funny because like every time, and then they're like, like during COVID, they're like, "Oh, we all should have a hangout happy hour thing, so we can all hang out outside of work and talk." Chris, can you set that up? And I'm like, "Why is it always me?" You know,
That's funny. I don't know. Like Hamster's coworkers are just like they don't even go out. Like, and I don't know if it would be different during a pandemic, but like they don't drink beer, and they think like Hamster is a crazy alcoholic because he has like 2 beers a day or whatever, or he drinks every day. They're like, "You drink every day?" And he's like, yeah, like when I get home from being yelled at by human beings all day, I want to have a drink or two.
Well, or you go to a brewery and you're like, "Oh, they have a new beer and I'm gonna try it," you know.
I don't know. It so as weird as they think we think they are so bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? And they're like,
Shepherd people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just thinking about like when I worked in the liquor industry. Like my job was to drink.
Yeah.
It's like we'd like do rock paper scissors. Like who can get out of going to the Scotch tasting? You lost. You have to go drink a bunch of Scotch all day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So explain that. I mean, before, I still got to tell this story, but James, explain that to people who have no idea. When something that is fun becomes your job, it is no longer fun anymore. It's not.
Aspects of it are still fun, but it loses a lot of its charm. You're like, what did you do today? I had to like drive over here and like I tasted 20 different wines.
Yeah.
And
or like when a rep would come to like the bar or something, and then you just had to taste all these things and then decide what you wanted to buy for a bar, and that sounds cool.
This is all gross. It's disgusting. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. So let me get this straight. This is horchata and vodka, or horchata and rum in a bottle, and they're like, okay.
But then some reps, you knew that there were certain reps that they would always bring you good stuff, and those were the days you were excited for. But then there were some reps that you knew it was always crap, like that weird horchata stuff,
wacky shit that you're gonna be like, well,
okay.
There's 2 shots. I will be right back, guys. One thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they would bring whatever shitty alcohol, and then probably some swag, right?
Yeah, I mean the swag's okay, but I mean you can just ask them for that.
No, I'm talking about the golf clubs or the whatever.
Oh yeah.
4,
I'm like looking at it like this TV that I got and that PS3 right there. Yeah, those are all free.
There you go.
Those are all free from the liquor.
It's the alcohol industry's version of payola. Right?
Those are nice.
I just remember like going to work and everybody's like, "Oh, what did you?" They're like, "I'll be like, what did you do this weekend?" They're like, "I don't know. I worked in the yard, and then my wife and we went to Lowe's and we picked out a bench to put out in our yard next to the pond that we built." And I'm like, "Nice, cool." And they're like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "I went to the Isotopes game." And they're like, "Oh, right on." And I'm like, "Yeah, we got called up to the Cisco Foods booth upstairs," and they're like, "Oh, what was that like?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." They just kept bringing trays of beers, and then like they had pizzas up there like crazy. And then like one of the dudes was like, "Who wants to go do shots with me?" And so I went down to the internal bar that I didn't know existed in the middle of the Isos Park, and me and him and Mayor Barry were doing shots of Fireball at the bar, and they're like, "What the fuck? like, is this real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah." And they're just like, "Huh?" like, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's Friday, it's a Friday."
That's called being
and I'm like, so anyway, how's that bench thing work? Is it, do you gonna chill? Is it gonna be a thing in the air? And they're like, no, let's hear more about the dice. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Anyway, so we end up renting a Hummer lift, and we lifted to the Rock and Brews where we're trashed, and we just go for more food, and it was all comped and free. And they're just like, what in the hell life do you live? I'm like, oh, I don't know. This is a weekend, man. What are you doing? I'm sorry, I didn't. That's a normal life for me.
No, when I was working in the liquor industry, it would be bizarre telling people like what you did. How was your day today? Like, oh, they came and picked me up. We went to like a restaurant. We had to set up some sort of schedule for this contest that's rigged completely, but
totally rigged.
And anyway, I got to have lunch with the Maynard from. Like, what? What is going on?
Right.
I know a couple of Maynards, so I'm wondering which Maynard it is.
The musician
from Tool. Yeah,
Maynard Keenan. I love him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was releasing a wine.
Yeah.
So me and my
and he would get livid pissed if people try to talk to him about Tool when he was.
I went to his vineyard one time,
really?
And he was actually there cutting vines. And I brought up that I was a Tool fan, and he got really mad.
Yeah.
So.
Which, get over it, dude. Come on. How'd you buy the vineyard? Your Tool money? Apple.
You just made a hamster laugh, too.
So, James, I want to talk about the rigged competition. So I have this, my cooler that I have, that Foster's cooler that I have. That we take the Road to Riches every year.
Oh, yeah.
The steel belted metal one. So those things are like $130. And I just remember, like, I worked for a company that had gas stations, and one of them was the Liquor Mart over there on Central, Central in the International District. And I was in there one day, and I was in the back, and it was sitting in the back. And I was like, dude, talking to the manager, that is a sweet cooler. And she's like, you like it? And I was like, yeah. She's like, we'll pull the truck around. We'll put it in there. You can have it. And I was like, no shit, really? And it was the giveaway that they had that thousands of people signed up to win, and they never gave it out and just gave it to me. I was like,
that's how that works.
And the workers were pissed because they wanted it. And, it's one of those things where, like, people have always asked me, like, how do you get like stuff in life like that? And I'm like, I just ask.
Dude, there's a refrigerator in the same room that you're in that I got for free.
It's right over here. Yeah. It's got some stickers to put on. Hey, hamster. Hamster's corporate.
We were talking about your weird coworker.
Oh, yeah.
Hamster corporate.
Oh,
I'm super corporate now, guys. It's really terrible. Yeah. I sold out to the man.
Hey, it is what it is.
Well, you can say anything while holding a kitten, can't you?
Right. True. You'd be like, hey, check out this cat. And everybody's like, oh, and he's like, and I got to go clean those bodies I murdered. And you're like, oh, God, it's so cute. Look at it. Oh. Like, anyway, what bodies? So we teased the first hour that I was going to tell the stupidest thing. Like they told the stupidest thing they ever did when I was drunk. They were drunk, and I was going to say I was going to tease the stupidest thing, or I was going to tell the stupidest thing when I was drunk. But I didn't feel like there was enough time, because this story has some there's background to it. There's details. So when I was in college, when I was in a fraternity, the big times, like some of the most fun times I ever had being in a fraternity is when we would go camping together. And when I mean camping, we would drive to like a lake or somewhere there was camping. We would put up tents, and then we would drink an insane amount of alcohol, play music, and cook terrible frozen meat patties and make hamburgers and throw up probably.
That's camping.
So a lot of times on these, somebody, I don't remember who it was, like one of the camping trips, somebody was like, let's go streaking. And so a bunch of us were wasted, and we all went streaking together. And it just became like a thing that we would do. And it was fun. Like, it was crazy. It was wild. You go skinny dipping, you go streaking, whatever. Now, there's this guy, and I won't say his name, that was an older guy in the fraternity, and you know, he had some stories about him, and like they were like he was a wild card, let's say, right? Like, for example, he was from Bozeman, Montana, and when he was telling me a story about when he was in high school, what their favorite thing to do is they would pull the car up to the metal trash cans that people would put outside their house, like, you know, when it was trash can day. So they'd pull the car up, put the bumper right on the trash can, right? And then just floor it and just haul ass, pushing it down the street. And then just slam on the brakes and watch the trash can fly into cars, watch it fly into houses, watch it fly into fences, whatever, and then just drive off. And that's the kind of things this dude would do. He would do crazy shit. He was a wild card. He was nuts. Anyway, there was this story about like how they went down to Ruidoso for someone's bachelor party, and he went into Allsup's nude and bought a burrito, a chimichanga. And people were like, man, that was crazy. That was crazy shit. And so people would always tell that story at parties. Well, one night we were at our house on First Street in Portales, and someone's like, well, you know, Chris is crazy too, because I would do some crazy things too. They're all, but I bet you would never do that. And I was like, well, what would you bet? What would you bet that I wouldn't do that? And they're like, I don't know, $5. I was like, no. $10 no. And then someone walked up and they were like, how about $100? And I was like, do you have, I'm like, you know, I'm in 20 years old. I'm in college, 24, probably in college. I went to college for way too long. I'm not a doctor, but I went as long as I went off and on. I didn't go all the time, but I would go back, you know, I would fluctuate in and out of college. Anyway, I was probably 24 at the time, probably that old guy that everybody's like, no, I was, yeah, it was around 23, 24. And I was like, if you've got $100, let's see it right now. And they like scraped up $100, scraped it up. And I'm like, oh man, all right, let's go do this. And they were like, well, you don't have to be fully nude. You can wear your hat, and I was wearing, it was some like kind of warm time, like your flip-flops and then your belt. So I had a belt like around my neck, and I had my red hat on and my flip-flops. So I walk around to the bed. There's luckily like an Allsup's probably about 3 or 4 blocks away, four blocks away. So I take the back alley, fully nude, run, well, except for the flip-flops, the belt, and the hat. And I run through the alley, and then I get up perpendicular to the Allsup's. There's a car wash between me and the Allsup's. So I run up to the car wash, and I'm kind of hiding behind the wall, waiting to like make sure no one, you know, looking at the Allsup's, make sure no one's there. And my friends are like parked to watch. So I run across the street from the car wash to the Allsup's, run in, and I have $2 in my, you know, that I've been holding in my fist. Because a burrito or a chimichanga was like 99 cents and some tax. And I didn't want to, you know, I didn't have change. I have no pockets. So I have my dick in my right hand, and then I have the $2 in my left hand. And the girl's like, the woman behind the counter is like cooking food. And she's like sitting there, and she hears the bell. Then she turns. She's like, yeah, what can I get? And she like stops and looks at me, and I was like, I want a chimichanga, and I slapped the $2 on the counter. And or I don't know if it was a chimichanga or a burrito. I'm pretty sure it was actually it was a burrito. That's what it was. And she's like, and I was like, a burrito. And I was like, come on. And she goes over and gets the burrito, comes over, and she's like, do you need sauce? I was like, nope. And I was like, keep all the change. And I grab it, and I run out, and I run back to the house, and I walk up with the burrito, and everyone's outside cheering. And I get the $100, right? So that's not the end of the story. So I clearly remember what this woman looked like clear as day. I didn't know that she was a twin, and that the twin also, they both went to college where I went. So a couple days later, I'm on campus during the day, And I see her and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And she looks at me like, I don't know who you are. And I'm like, hey, sorry about the other night. And they bet me $100. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. And it took me like weeks to find out she had a twin sister, and that I ran into the twin sister. I didn't know. Right. So that was awkward. And I ended up like talking to her one night at a party, and I told her the whole story. And so what I used the money for was the next time we went camping, I bought like with the $100, I kept the $100 and I used it for poor college kid. I used it to buy like 5 or 6 30 packs because they were like $11 a piece. And I bought most of the beer for the trip. Now, smash cut about 8 months later, my roommate at the time, Neil Boots, real name, we would party all night at our house, and then like our favorite like hangover spot was a place called the Wagon Wheel Cafe. So we go into the Wagon Wheel the next day, and we're eating, and I hear like Chris, and I look up and like I see no one that I know. There's like 4 or 5 tables. There's a table with like 2 or 3 cops at it. There's like some families, and I have no idea what's going on. And I hear it one more time, and then I look up and I just can't tell who's like calling out my name. So we get up to go pay. We pay at the counter. All of a sudden I hear Chris one more time. I turn around and it's a table full of cops. And a cop looks at me and he goes, "Come here." And I was like, all right. I walk over and yes, officer. And he kicks a chair out, like under the table. He kicks the chair. So it moves out. He goes, "Sit down." And the other cops are like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, so I sit down and he's like, "So, I hear you like Allsup's burritos." And I'm like, sometimes. And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Is that something you do very often?" I was like, No, not really. Just, when there's money on the line. And I just kind of say that. And he goes, "Okay. All right, you guys have a good day." And I walked out and I was like, I feel like that's one of the stupidest things I've ever done. But also,
I think it's hilarious, legendary.
Mm-hmm.
That you didn't hurt yourself, you didn't hurt anybody.
And like the woman, she saw my naked butt, but she didn't see my penis because I had it covered up with my hand. So I wasn't like waving my penis at traffic. Yeah, so I feel like that story needed all of the context because the story wasn't, and so then that story became legendary. And then the guy, one of the guys that was in the chat earlier, he ended up doing it. I remember that. And the guy like chased him out of all stuff, like the guy where he's like, no. And so people started trying to replicate it and copycat it. And it's, once that happens, it's not the same. It's just not the same.
That's hilarious.
I didn't feel like I had enough time to tell all that. I was like, but it's funny because like I like running into the twin. I was just like, hey, what's going on? Sorry about the other night. And she's just like, what? What do you mean? And she was probably like, man, I have no idea what.
She's like, what did my sister do?
Yeah, right. And that poor girl, she's just trying to work, And it's funny because like Billy, I think, worked at that Allsup's for a little while. And every single person I knew who worked at Allsup's in Portales would just steal it blind. Come home with like a stack full of groceries, toiletries, burritos,
So I worked at a little gas station in Estancia, New Mexico when I was married. And the lady who owned it was so crazy that she would count. So like at the end of your shift or like the end of the night, like you would take the burritos that didn't get bought. We made burritos like Allsup's it, did or whatever. And she would make you count how many were left after your shift. Mm-hmm. You had to leave them there and you did not get any free burritos. She was so crazy about it. So she would rather throw them away than have people take burritos home to eat.
Well, I feel like the reasoning for that is
Well, she doesn't want you to make like extra
right.
to like then take home, right?
Yep. Right. And I get that.
I mean, I
You
think
have
a better way to do it would be like, hey, unless anybody buys anything, then only make like 8 or 10 burritos
Yeah.
every day.
Right.
Well,
okay. So, for example, like, and I complained about this to people. So, Silver Market down the road, they have breakfast burritos,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
And I feel like there's no one there doing that. Like, no one calculates, So they only have one burrito. They have 10 different kinds of burritos they make for breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And only one that I can eat. If you know the history of the show, you know what that means.
Oh.
So they have the number 2, and almost every time I go, it has to be super early, or the 2s are all gone. And I'm like, okay, calculate at the end of the day the numbers you're throwing away. Number 5s, number 7s, number 10s. And stop making so many of those. And then the ones that you constantly run out of, make more of those. It's pretty fucking simple.
Right.
And that's one of, I don't know. It's me getting older and just be like, man, you kids in your burrito rock and roll.
Burrito rock and roll.
I'm just pissed about it. I'm like, come on, man. If I get here at 10 o'clock and all the 2s are gone and there's like a whole shitload of everything else constantly.
Well, if you're gonna go old, go all the way. Why don't you just ask them to make more 2s?
It's true. In my strongly worded letter that I wrote. Well, the thing too is, like, the other day I went there, it was 9 a.m. 9 a.m. And they were putting out the rotisserie chicken and the pizza in the warmer at 9 a.m. And I'm like,
So it can be gross by lunchtime?
Yeah. You guys are not reading what's happening here. Somebody's like bored and they're like, I'm going to go ahead and do this, but it's like not smart. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That's weird.
Just annoying.
You would think that good business practices would be important to people.
Right now, yeah, especially like if you're throwing away a lot of the hot food. I don't know. Welcome to the.
Who knows if they're throwing them away? Maybe they are giving them away.
There's a lot of stuff left at the end. Like when I go at 7 o'clock at night and the breakfast burritos, a ton of breakfast burritos left, I'm really thinking they're going to throw those away.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm talking like 15 to 20 left. That's quite a bit. Yeah.
The liquor store I worked at, we made burritos too.
Yeah.
And because it's a New Mexican thing, it's like you make burritos.
How long has this been here?
Anywhere.
2 days. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You eat.
You eat.
You'll eat.
Well,
yum yum.
We used to give them away at the end of the night, but then like people would start to like just show up at the end of the night just to get burritos.
Yeah.
Which is the exact wrong time that we want them in the liquor store.
Yeah. I feel really bad too, because every time I go to the Silver Market, like people are like, "Do you have any change?" And I'm like, "I haven't had change in like 9 months. Yeah. I haven't had regular cash. Like I don't have cash. So if there's somebody out like that I see that I can kind of tell they're like destitute bad, I'll go in and get it. I'll buy them one of those burritos. And I'll come out and I'll just hand it to them. Well, here you go. I didn't have any change, but here you go. Because
we literally had to go like get some coins for Danny because she likes change to put in her piggy bank or whatever for her chores.
Oh, I thought you were saying put in her mouth. Swallow.
Yes, we give her change as snacks. But the other day we realized that we don't really use cash right now, so we don't have change. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. It's a thing. It's like I haven't like you're asking for change. That's got to be pretty universal, though, right?
Yeah,
aren't carrying cash.
I haven't carried it for years, actually.
No, I'm kind of that way too, but
bus fare.
Like when I have change in my pockets, I'm all, oh wow, huh? Yeah, and it sucks because like I live downtown, and if I drive somewhere down over here, you have to pay,
right?
It's like $1 for an hour. There's no like if you use your card, it's automatically $1.
Oh dang.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I do have a change thing. So now I've started like putting like a quarter or two in my pocket because I'm just running in. So I only need
Right.
and they've become super stealthy about the tickets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were like, I was doing a photo shoot with my friend Alex, and we were out in front of the El Rey for no longer than 5 minutes, and we walked back to the car, and there was a ticket, and we never saw the person. And the car was right
Oh my God.
in the first position next to the liquor store. And I was like, "Holy shit, man! Where did they go? Did they like
Ninjas.
climb down the building, or what the fuck? You know?" They're about
They're
that
in
money.
stealth mode.
Oh, they got to get that money, man. City's got to have it.
Fucking ridiculous.
Don't
I
even
can
get
see
me started.
I can see the meeting. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We're getting you some new like camouflage gear. You need to get in and out of there. No one's parking anywhere anymore.
Right. What? Yeah. So, I mean, have you guys pretty much got a basic routine down now? Is that how your life is going? Or you go to the same?
I have a very strict routine, like when Danny is home, which
Mhm.
is, almost every day.
Yeah.
And so, that's except for Sunday and Monday, I basically have the same routine. Wake up in the morning, get her fed, feed her lunch, put her down for a nap, solve crimes on the internet, and then teach her how to write, solve more crimes on the internet. And that's what I do.
How's the crime solving on the internet going?
Well, you know what, Chris? I'm glad you asked. So there's been some like weird ones happening in my like true crime groups.
Uh-huh.
So I'm in true crime groups on Facebook, and we follow weird cases that happen like while they're happening. And a couple weeks ago, maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a lady who claimed that she was pregnant and walked away from her house and disappeared. And then in our true crime group, within an hour of her family saying like they can't find her or whatever, we discovered that her stillbirth child from January of 2020 was fake. She had lied to her whole family about having a stillbirth and stolen a photo of a baby that had died from a documentary, and her sonogram of the new baby that she was pregnant with was also stolen, and we figured that out within an hour.
Wow.
Is this person in jail now?
We don't know. So that was the other thing, was like, so my little alarm bells started going
Was any
off.
of that illegal though?
I don't know that it's illegal to make up having a baby.
I don't think it is unless you're defrauding someone.
Yeah,
like
and
for
then
money.
so like her best friend was the one that was saying she was missing, and I think she really honestly thought that like her pregnant best friend was missing. And then we were like, well, why isn't her family like posting about this? Why is there nothing on the news about a pregnant woman like missing? Like, and that's what got us started. So if ever I go missing, just forward it to my true crime groups. They'll get it solved within an hour. It's fine.
So this happened. Like you guys, I mean, have you been in this group and people are like solving crimes right and left?
We figure it out pretty quick. I mean, we dig through people's Facebooks. I wouldn't say we solve, like, it's not like we solve them and then, whatever. But a lot of times we figure it out and then we're not surprised when the outcome is, whatever it is. But with that lady, she actually kind of got outed for her false pregnancies to her family. So.
Wow.
Because of our group.
This reminds me of that documentary, like Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yeah.
A lot, where there was just like, but that one scared, like for me, for social media, it scared me because like that person, the Luca or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
He infiltrated the Facebook group and was like stalking the people that were trying to catch him, and that was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
They got to make a movie out of that, right?
yeah, I don't know. I think they have to.
Yeah.
I think that was like, so now because of that happened, we're very careful. Like, you don't want to go what we call don't go real life, which means you don't comment or message people who are involved with a case or anything, because it's for our safety, but also like, somebody in our group could be fucking crazy and like hurt people too.
Blast
So
off. Yeah, you don't know these people.
you don't know
It's-
who any of these people are.
It's kind of interesting on the Facebook group front, right? How a little more stringent it's becoming to join some of these groups now. Have you noticed this?
Yes.
Yeah. So I bought an electric bicycle,
Okay.
and it's not just a regular everyday, like, it's I'll pull it up. Have I showed you guys this at all, or talked about this at all? So I bought
bicycle? I don't think so.
it's called a Super 73. Let me pull up a photo of this thing. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Let me save it and not put it online here. I'll find I need to find the right color here. Give me a second. There we go. Nope, that is not. There we go. Yeah, that is the correct one. And it's one of those things where there's like this whole movement to do like a throwback cafe racer style bicycle, right? Like electric. I mean, it's more like a moped, I guess, is the answer. Let me pull this up here. So this is what I have now. Oh, didn't mean to do it that way. It's called the Super 73 S2. Dang it.
It does look like a moped. I can see it in your background.
Well, it doesn't look like a moped. It looks like a cafe racer motorcycle is what it looks like. But it's technically called a moped. So
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So it'll go up to 30, like I've gotten it up to like 33 miles an hour.
Wow.
It'll go 40 plus miles on a charge, which didn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a bit. Anyway, so there's this whole movement. You can really mod them out and do a lot of things to what they look like. So the company has their own Facebook group, and in order to join that Facebook group, I had to like put in my order number. Or they wouldn't let me in.
And let me tell you why. So we've been talking a lot about this like in my like Facebook groups. So it's a safety thing. So like there are people who look for product pages like that where people are talking about souping things up and things like that, and they try to figure out where you're at. They will literally break into people's homes and steal stuff.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Makes sense.
So it happens a lot, actually.
Since joining that page, I've had 2 people from Albuquerque who also own them, and now we're going to start a gang of moped riders, I guess.
I have a bunch of like online crime friends.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. No, really. Two people messaged me and they're like, "Hey, I have this bike," and another person's like, "I got one like yours, and we should ride together." And I was like, "Oh, nice."
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like, only if we get shirts.
You guys should get little vests.
Well, there we go. Yeah, pleather, like a pleather vest.
So there's a true crime case like that was unfolding yesterday and the day before. This lady like went missing, and I think that her husband is totally suspicious.
Oh.
And she was
tigers.
Huh?
Fed him to the tigers.
Oh, well, yeah, Carol Bass. I mean, she's really suspicious. But so we were following it because he reported his wife missing. He said she just walked out of her house in Pennsylvania during an ice storm with no coat.
Oh.
And that they got in a fight on New Year's Eve at 5 p.m. And then he was looking for her. And of course, unfortunately, she was found deceased yesterday. But his behavior online, mark my words, that husband did it. He is
COD. What's the
suspicious.
COD? What's the COD? What did they say? Cause of death.
So right now they're saying that here's why I think he's suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
He, in everything that he posted online, he made sure to make it a point to say she was an alcoholic and that's what they were fighting about. And she walked to the liquor store to go get more alcohol and never came home.
As you do. You're like, Maggie went to the liquor store to buy more alcohol. So tired of this relationship. Don't know how much longer I can maintain it. Something like that.
Well, and
Come on.
also, I just feel like if you're in a place that has below 0 temperatures, she walks out without a coat, let her cool off, and then you're going to go find her.
Well, I would.
You're a fucking idiot if you don't, But so he just kept bashing her in everything, which is not normal. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how mad you are at your wife and mother of your children, you're not going to be like, I haven't seen her in 2 days. She probably died of,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
So some you wouldn't say. You wouldn't just be like, haven't seen her in 2 days. Oops.
Yeah. Well, then all of a sudden he started acting like he was sad, I guess, but he was wiping fake tears. Like he wasn't even crying. And so this is the part that I find crazy is they had a search party out looking by that liquor store. There's like a pond and wooded area kind of near there. They had looked there before because obviously they're going to look in a pond right by the place she was supposedly supposed to be. And nobody saw her. And then yesterday when they were searching, they found her in a shallow pond with water or like ice, and she had died. So for now, the cause of death,
hypothermia right now?
For now, the cause of death is like accident. But I have a feeling, I don't know.
Death by misadventure.
Death by stupidity, I guess.
It's like, no, it's something, it's something, they call that's really a thing. Like,
exposure, right?
Yeah, it might have been exposure because she didn't have a coat.
Well, if they found her in water, it was probably hypothermia. She just went, but what's his name? God dang, Jeff. Hold on.
Jeff Irwin?
No. No.
Oh, that's Steve Irwin. What am I? Jeff Irwin.
Trying to find him. Jeff Buckley. Jeff Buckley, the singer. He went swimming in the river, and he had his boots on and his jeans, and he drowned, and they call that by like misadventure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But so I've seen a lot of cases, especially the last couple years. There's a lot of guys killing their wives, and I don't know. I get this feeling. He just the morning after she went missing, he posted like this really sarcastic, like he had his leg up on a table drinking coffee. He's like, that feeling when your drunk wife leaves and you're just drinking coffee. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
like,
I would never post that.
Yeah. I just, it's like, I feel like after an hour or two, no matter how mad at Hamster I was, I would be just beside myself worried. And he just was like, yeah, whatever.
I would never in a million years go on social media and, be like, I'm so tired of my spouse doing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an odd way. That's an odd way to act. Like, you know what? She's always smoking crack in the kids' room, and I'm tired of it, guys. I'm at the end of my rope here.
To me, it just looked like he was laying out his alibi. Just.
Yeah. I have a crazy death by misadventure story, but go ahead, James, if you have something to say.
Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, I got in trouble because I posted a photo of me with like a thumbs up because I was like on an airplane after my fiance died.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got
but you weren't
huge
like
trouble with that.
Her,
No, definitely I wasn't. But
yeah,
just the fact that I had a thumbs up, I was like, I don't know, this is. I'm like, out of here. And people read a lot into that. And I was like,
That's crazy.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just like, hey, I'm doing okay.
that was pretty much what I meant. I was like, because everyone was
To me,
worried.
that's a normal response. Like, but when somebody you love is missing and you don't know where they are, and it's below 0 temperature, and they don't have a coat on, they don't have their phone, I just think that's not the time that you're gonna be like, she's a drunk piece of shit. I don't know. I suspicious.
No, yeah. So, let's go back in time a little bit to the year 2001.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right after 9/11, Jay Leno decided to get this. Jay Leno's a big like car guy and motorcycle guy, and what he wanted to do to raise money for like the victims of September 11th, he got this Harley Davidson, like really vintage, old Harley Davidson, right? And he had it like on the Tonight Show set, and every celebrity that came on would sign it. So it had like autographs from, what was his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Nicole Kidman, Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise. I'm actually looking at the what's his name? God dang it. I just had it in my head. Anyway, like just all the celebrities that were on his show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what they decided to do is they decided to take this motorcycle, they were going to auction it off, and the money was going to go to the 9/11, victims' families, victims and their families. It was a Harley Davidson FXDL Dyna Lowrider. So this guy in Portales, New Mexico, wins the lottery. And it wasn't like, 30, 40 million, but it was a couple million, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's right before they do this auction. And I can't remember his name, but this guy goes and bids on this motorcycle. He bids $360,000 and he wins it. And it came with a Harley Davidson edition Ford truck, and it came with a trailer, and you could so my sister says he won $2 million. She knew the guy. $2 million. So him and his dad, got this motorcycle, and it came with a trailer that like they could put the Harley in, and then it like had windows on it, and you could see it. I saw the bike. I've seen the bike in person. Samuel L. Jackson, that's who's on. I saw, you can see Arnold Schwarzenegger, his, all these different autographs on. So the guy bids and he wins the bike in Portales. Man, it was not 2 months later. Him and his friends were partying at Ute Lake on a boat, and, unprepared for they were just drinking and partying on a boat. So they drive the boat up on like a little dune of water dune of sand coming out of the water. Not on a little island, but like a little, I don't know what you call it. But they drove the boat up on that on accident. They were drinking pretty heavily. And so they're stuck. Now, they couldn't have been. I've seen the little dune they were on. I mean, it's 30 yards to land. So him and his friend decided to jump into the water and swim to shore. And I mean, they were wearing, their shoes, they were wearing their jeans, everything. Both drowned and died. 30 yards to land.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was like, what the fuck? When I heard that story, I was like, you're kidding me. And then I went out with my friends and they were like, yeah, that's where those people went up on the sandbar. And and I was like, dude, that's 30 yards to the beach.
But I mean, if you're drunk and you have like jeans on and boots, you're not in the right mind.
the last time you swam in water, you were like 10.
Yeah. And with this case, with this husband, like it very well could be that she was super wasted and walked out without a coat, and maybe he was fed up with it, maybe he didn't murder her, but I don't know. I don't know. Just here's a tip from somebody who follows true crime: if something happens to your spouse, do not do not talk shit publicly about your spouse. Don't do it.
Nope. Just walk away.
Just walk away. Just say I am worried about my spouse.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm deleting all social media, guys. Have to take a break. They're like, did his wife die? I'm like, but I mean, like, I'm upset, so I'm gonna just delete everything real quick.
If it's like a suspicious circumstance, So
what's the epilogue here?
Your significant other's always gonna be a suspect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the takeaway.
They didn't catch him. They're not like.
Well, so this just happened today or yesterday.
I need the dun 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 update. The viewers watched our program. They were able to.
I'll give you an update when I get one. I mean, this is how crazy I am into it, though. Like we keep an eye on things the whole.
Yeah.
So.
Was that your favorite part of Unsolved Mysteries? That was mine. It was like, it'd be like updates. Earlier this season, we talked about a man that we thought was a suspect in a killing of his wife. Several viewers came forward, and we were able to. Police were able to apprehend him in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And you're like, hell yeah, y'all son of a bitch! How dare you?
I would think that Unsolved Mysteries and like those updates and stuff is probably where my true crime obsession came from.
I think that's where a ton of people, they were like, man. That was the first time Unsolved Mysteries, and this was for a lot of people. Unsolved Mysteries was the first time they talked about the Unabomber.
Yep.
Ever. They were like, people are getting suspicious packages exploding. And I remember that. And then all of a sudden, like about 6 months after Unsolved Mysteries, it was in the news. And it was like, oh, shit,
Right.
They really were after him. And then they had that terrible rendering of the dude. the worst. I'm going to call this the worst sketch drawing in the history of catching a human being. They're like, he's a male with a hoodie on and sunglasses. If you see this guy, you're like, everyone. So everyone.
So literally every man I see wearing a hoodie with sunglasses is the Unabomber. Okay, cool.
It's cold outside during the day. Damn.
I mean, look at this. Hold on. Let's look at this.
I just watched that TV show they have. It's called Manhunt or something. And it's about the Unabomber. It was so good, about how that guy Jewel got, like, they basically convicted him in the public eye.
Yeah. So my sister can confirm this. When we were underage, there was a place called Rocky's 21 and Under in Albuquerque or in Clovis, and half the people that went there look like this guy. This dude with curly hair and a bad mustache and sunglasses and a hood.
I feel like everyone back then looked like that.
Yeah, the worst sketch drawing of all time.
Yeah.
That when I was in the 90s and I'd play Tony Hawk, I would create the Unabomber as a character, and I would do the hood with the sunglasses.
Oh, and I just said that wrong. So I watched the one about the Olympic bomber, which is that Jewel guy.
Oh, dude, that movie. Have you watched the movie?
I haven't watched the movie, but the TV show was super good. And then they have another season that's about the Unabomber.
Okay.
And it shows how the FBI fucked that up using profiling.
The Unabomber or the Richard
The
Jewell?
Unabomber. And the other one. Profiling is what fucks them up in both of those cases.
Yeah, dude, that Richard Jewell case, if you hate the police, you will hate them more after that Richard Jewell one. Man, that poor motherfucker. Like, I watched that movie, And the guy that plays him in that movie should have won the Academy Award. That guy is
my God.
amazing. And Richard Jewell, like if you watch the Richard Jewell movie, and it was a Clint Eastwood movie, so it's an amazing. I mean, Clint Eastwood doesn't make real shitty movies. The guy that plays him in the movie, like Richard Jewell was that guy that everyone has met in their life, where he just wants to be a police officer,
but for the right reason. So the reason the profile gets messed up with him, right, is he checked all the boxes for a sociopath. Okay. So like, as far as the profiling went, he had an abusive family. You know, he didn't have an active father. He had an abusive mother.
No, was his mom abusive?
Yes.
Oh. His
mom treated him like crap, talked to him like crap. And that went into the FBI profile.
Oh.
He basically wanted to please everybody around him. He wanted to do good. And
he wanted to be lawful. Like he wanted to be a law enforcement, and he was. Right. He was a cop for a while. Yeah.
Yes, but where the profiling got fucked up, and why profiling is so dangerous, is that there's a fine line between somebody who's like BTK serial killer who wants to get into some kind of law enforcement to control things, and then there's somebody who wants to get into law enforcement because they want to do good, because they want to be lawful. You know, and they really, really fucked Jewell up. And they even went as far as like the FBI interviewed him pretending that he was the hero, and they were doing a training video. Yes. And even had him sign Miranda rights as part of a training video.
The thing is he was a little slow.
Yeah.
He was. He's that guy that everyone has known in their life who's a little slow and looks up to like law enforcement and loves America, and that's all he wanted to do. And then he had his chance. Like it was like he actually like was like, that's the thing. When he was at the Olympic pavilion or whatever at the concert, you know, other law enforcement were just having a good time. Like they were not taking it seriously, and he was taking it seriously. And he saw a backpack just sitting under a bench. And he actually, I don't know if they talk about this in the thing. What he did was he took the backpack that was sitting up vertical and he turned it on its side. So when it exploded, it didn't explode out.
Well,
it exploded up.
So the thing about the bomb was actually the bomb was built the way they caught the guy who actually did it. The way the bomb was built was it had a metal plate in the backpack. So he caught some kids who had a backpack, and he told the cops about it. The kids walked away, but there was another thing there. So he ended up saving thousands of lives.
Only one person died.
Attention.
Yeah. Only one person died, and he got injured too. He got hurt. It hit him. So that's the thing. Like the way the bombs worked, like the guy, like it was one of those bombs where they put nails and stuff in it, ball bearings and nails. So whenever it explodes, it turns all those into like basically bullets just flying. So if the backpack would have stayed vertical, it would have exploded out into this like audience of people. So he turned it sideways, and when it exploded, it mostly exploded up and down. And so it went into the ground and it went up.
And the other thing about it is that the ATF got kind of pushed out of the investigation, which sucks because they were 30 minutes from ATF headquarters in Georgia, right? So ATF got pushed out, and this investigator wouldn't let go of the fact that this was a very intricate, like, bomb, that if he had been the bomber, he would have been smart enough to not put himself in harm's way. Because of that metal directional plate. He would have known better than to be anywhere near that explosion.
But he was like famous for like 15 minutes. I mean, literally. But,
and then he was infamous.
And then they just ruined his life. I mean, they ruined him and his mom, both of them ruined their lives. And then it took like, and they didn't catch the other person until like 2 or 3 years later. Yeah, so they kind of screwed him. It was like the FBI and a reporter that did it.
This all sounds amazing.
It's a
Yeah,
great
you
obviously-
should watch the TV show because it really gets
I
into
will.
like how the FBI messed up and that ATF, the ATF guy really pushed the FBI guy in the right direction, and the ATF guy never got the credit he deserved.
Right. And then,
Yeah.
and then Richard
Wait,
Jewell,
no,
like,
what is this all about?
so in the 2000 and what was it, 2002 Olympics?
Well, it was like the 90s, wasn't it?
It could have been, it was the Olympics in Georgia.
Yeah, like
You
97.
don't remember that bombing at the Olympics in Georgia, James? You don't remember that at all?
I may not have had a TV at the
Right.
time.
Well, I mean, the reason why you don't really remember it is because Richard Jewell saved shitloads of people.
Yeah.
He saved hundreds, maybe thousands of people. There was a shitload of people at that concert, and it was kind of a blip because like one person died. They say 90s. So then he's dead. He died not too long ago after that because he was very obese.
2007.
Yeah, he was pretty obese, and he had issues. Like I think it was probably diabetes or something, and he died. But yeah, they treated him like right away. They treated him like he was a hero because he was. Because he kept telling people he's like there's a bomb, and he had to like run up the thing and tell him shut the concert down. There's a bomb.
Yeah.
And the police were like telling him to shut up and not saying like because he was kind of that guy that was like overzealous, like I love the cops guy, and he was actually right, and he saved like one guy died, and then the FBI and this reporter, I think she was from CNN.
Yeah.
Raked him over the coals and were like, maybe you're the bomber. Maybe you did it.
Yeah.
And he had to turn. It's really sad. Like the movie's really sad because like, the guy played, he was he wasn't a smart guy. He was just not, I mean, I went and read a bunch of the reports about him and they were like, yeah, he was that simple, super honest person that just really wanted to be a law enforcement officer, but didn't have the capacity. And he did what was right, and he was a hero. And instead of looking for the right person, they went and like persecuted him.
Well, the profiling is what fucked them up because they thought that he had on purpose said there's a bomb, made himself look like a hero. Because there are sociopaths that do that kind of shit.
That is what they thought. Yeah, they thought he planted the bomb and then And then
you should watch the TV show because it goes into more of like the ATF and the FBI, or like more into like what went wrong and then what eventually went right. Well, and it was very interesting.
And I feel like more people should watch the movie because it's like one of those things where like people are like, I don't know who this guy is, and I'm like, and you should, because this guy was a hero.
Yeah,
he was not, he was not anything spectacular. He was just a guy that wanted to always do the right thing at the right time, but he just wasn't he was looked upon as a pathetic person.
Yeah,
and they didn't take him seriously. Like he was like he was a police officer for a little while, but they fired him because he was just, he just didn't have the capacity.
Well, probably because he did everything the right way. He was a good cop.
He was a little too hard-edged, and like he even worked for like they show scenes in the movie. They show scenes where he was like a security guard at a college, and he was like hard-edged doing his job, and like the dean fires him because he's like just too much. And it's sad, but like I felt like, and it really saddens you in the movie because like you kind of see him like where he's been, he always has looked up to these people, and they're just raking him and his mom over the coals, and finally he just kind of has a little speech, and you're like, and I don't know if it really happened, but you're just like,
he got beat up at a grocery store.
Yeah, like crazy shit, man.
But yeah, you guys, I mean, I want to check out the movie, and then I also want to, I urge everybody to watch both that one and the one about the Unabomber.
No.
Because I think it like gives insight into why you should not trust the cops.
Oh, I already knew that.
What? We don't really portray that on this show.
I'm just saying, cops can lie to you and not have any evidence and not know what they're doing.
You can lie to the cops too.
Lie to you, or
it's a give and take.
See that you have brake pads in your hand and shoot you and say it was a gun. I don't know. It's like that. Who knows? I'm not saying all that way, but some.
I got out so many things just by like giving them a wrong address.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll talk about this later if you ever find me.
All right, I think we've done enough damage in this one.
Yeah, I don't need more reasons to hate the cops.
Oh, God, never in a million years do I know. I mean, and I say that, and I've gotten many opportunities where I should have gone to jail and I didn't. So,
yeah, I really wanted to be a criminal profiler. That's like my dream job, but I refuse to do it because I don't want to be a cop first.
Well, and like my dad was a cop. My mom just stated that my dad was a cop.
But he is a nice person.
No, he was not a nice cop. No.
No, but he's like a good person in general. So I don't think he would do anything shady, They're
saying not all cops are bad. You're right there, not. But
not all cops are bad, but I'm saying you should be weary.
Just the entire system that they work for.
Here, they're all saying that, but they don't live in Albuquerque, where we have a lot of cops that are bad.
Oh, that's very true.
I'm not saying that all cops are bad. I'm saying you should be leery of cops because cops make mistakes as well, is what I'm saying.
And they're saying what? Question mark? Well, just look up. They have the department. Department of Justice is camped out here due to all the cop shootings. And what was it? We had 20 police officers. 20 deaths in 1 year from not guns, but from tasers. So, not in 1 year, but it was 20 deaths from tasers. How do you kill a person with a taser? Well, you just keep shooting them with it.
You got to try.
Yeah.
It's got a concerted effort there.
We had a definite issue with the police here.
Right.
For quite some time.
I was talking more about FBI who has powers like profiling that they can use as evidence. That's what I was talking about. Is be leery because they can literally turn a conversation you're having with them and dismantle that and turn it into probable cause.
Yeah, watch the Richard Jewell. Yeah. I guarantee you guys watch. I haven't watched the documentary, but I guarantee after watching the movie,
I've probably never said a true statement to a police officer in my entire life.
Good job, Smiley. Keep it up. That's what I'm talking about. Don't let the man know what's going on.
Yeah, they're not trying to help anyone.
Oh my. Okay, hold on. I've got it. My sister just said y'all have so much crime. I'd be afraid to even be about bullshit. I am more afraid of the police here than I am of someone shooting me. So when the police shot that homeless guy up in the heights, here's what they did. They were driving to the call that some rich person called because there was a homeless person in their neighborhood. And the police officer said, when we get there, I'm going to shoot him in the pecker. Then they got there. You can hear the audio. They tell him to back up slowly. Then they fire 6 bullets into him. Then
they sent a fucking dog.
They stick the dogs on him after they've shot him with AR-15s. Then they shot him with rubber bullets. Why would you shoot someone with rubber bullets?
At close range, no less.
At close range. Then there was the girl who they said was on drugs that I have all my friends seem to know. The cop pulls her over. She gets out of the car. Then his camera shuts off. Then the camera comes back on and she's dead. And he said, "Oh, she pulled a gun on me and my camera failed." And they fired him. Then you had the guy that had brake pads. We're getting there. Then you had the guy that had brake pads in his hands and the cops told him to freeze and they thought they were guns. And so they killed him. Then you had Ken Reese, who was our friend, who was
on the phone with 911 at the time.
Yeah.
Where 911 told him to be.
Right. And 911 told him to be there. And they showed up and they told him to put his hands up. And as soon as they say, put your hands up, they start firing. And they shot him. And then you hear him screaming on the audio. Then they fire a bunch of more shots after about 5 seconds and kill him. And then the police report comes out and they go, well, he had drugs in his system. And they go, okay, so what? So what if he had drugs in his system? He called the police for someone breaking into his house and then you shot and killed him. So because someone had drugs in the system that they deserve to die, it's ridiculous. So I'm sorry when people say, oh, we have too much crime here, the cops should be afraid. No, the cops need more training, and whoever's training them shouldn't train them to shoot first, then ask questions. That's the problem. So sorry if I'm a little pissed, but it just, after living here I'll walk out. I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell my sister this. I walked my parents downtown Friday night, 11 o'clock at night, and we had no problems whatsoever. No one touched us. No one bothered us. I'll walk up and down the streets. I don't give a shit. And then I see a cop car, and I'm more afraid of the cop car than I am of anything else. Just how it is. Bullshit. Sorry, I'm mad about that, but it just keeps happening over.
It's an ongoing problem.
Over again. You get these
APD
people.
is not even in charge of Albuquerque right now. We're still over DOC because it's so corrupt and it's so violent.
Yep. From the police.
From the biggest gang that there is.
Yep. I'm sorry. I know there's bad parts of Albuquerque. I'm very aware, and I don't go in those areas. And that's just how it is. I don't do it. But like, I'll walk down Central. I'll walk over all around downtown. Not afraid, not one bit. But man, as soon as the police show up, scared to bits. I don't want to get shot, man. Sorry. And we lost Holly.
Uh-oh.
Maybe she got mad. Anyway, I'll end it at that. I hate to end on a bad note, but she must have got upset. Maybe. I'll ask her. Anyway, James, you have anything to plug while we leave here?
You can see me. I guess it's streaming on HBO Max, Snatchers. Yeah. And then, as per usual, on Netflix, you can see me in Daybreak, or on Hulu or NBC, Midnight Texas, and The Brave.
Oh, Holly Ann said her tablet died, which is understandable. They're saying glad you feel safe. Absolutely. I love, like, I'm going to be real honest here. I love that people feel like Albuquerque is a dangerous, crazy, crime-filled city, because I don't want you to move here. I don't want our property tax, our property value to go up. I like the way it is. And if you ask me what it's like and you don't live here, we have car fires, we have blood puddles, and we have medical waste everywhere, because I don't want you to move here.
I go to riots all the time.
And with that, we are
10 drink minimum.